Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 47 of Generation GC, The Innocent by Goldfinger, featuring Good Charlotte and Mest. My name is Molly Hudelson. I'm your host, and my guest today is John P. Parhomski. A few days ago, we talked about Silver Screen Romance from Cardiology. This is a bonus episode, and on Wednesday, we'll be back with a song from Youth Authority. Born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, John is a proud pop-punk aficionado and a self-described superfan of Good Charlotte since 2000. He saw them for the first time on their 2001 Uniting the States tour and has since followed them around on various tours nationwide. Between 2003 and 2006, he's seen them a lot of times. John worked for Fearless Records on the 2008 and 2009 Vans Warped Tour, and he also toured with bands like Alisana and Artist vs. Poet. After touring, John went to Harris Stowe State University to study web design and is currently a technical analyst for a major software company in St. Louis. I had a lot of fun talking to John. I think y'all are really going to enjoy hearing our conversation. The Innocent is definitely a song that I think really rings true in 2020, 2021. COVID is still, it's not going away anytime soon. ICUs are at capacity. People are dying every single day. So please continue to wear masks, to social distance, and follow your local, state, and federal guidelines. And stay inside. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Wash your hands. As I mentioned a few days ago on episode 46, 2021 is off to a pretty wild start. And as I said on that episode, I'm really not entirely shocked that rioters stormed the U.S. Capitol building, because since the past 4 years have been pretty insane, but especially the election process, the far right have shown they're not going to just accept it. They are going to do whatever they can to overthrow it, I guess. As I'm recording this, per the BBC, 5 people have died and there were 82 arrests. And as I mentioned on the last episode, I don't want to make this a news show because I know that the news can be really overwhelming, but I do want to remind you of 2 very important subjects that I often bring up on the show. The first is the Black Lives Matter movement. I mean, specifically, how the armed security that would show up at even the most peaceful Black Lives Matter protests versus the apparent lack of security and enforcement when a predominantly white group, almost entirely white group, frankly, of Trump supporters tried to enter a U.S. governmental building. The second is anti-Semitism. There's photos going around of men wearing shirts that say, one says Camp Auschwitz, another says 6MWE, for 6 million wasn't enough, referring to the number of Jews killed in the Holocaust. And as I stated on episode 46, and as I believe is very clear, but it's worth reiterating, I do not support Trump. I do not support any of the right-wing and conservative groups and the hate groups that showed up to the Capitol this week. I do not support the hate and the violence that's been displayed in many ways. That is not what this show is about. There is no space for that kind of hatred here. Unfortunately, that is the reality of the United States of America, but that's not the kind of community I want to create on starting this podcast. I want the Generation GC fam to be people that love and take care of one another. And I want to say again that, I know everything is really crazy right now, and it can be really tough to concentrate on work or school or whatever is going on in your life at home, but I really hope that, if nothing else, the podcast can be some entertainment to distract you for the next hour or so. That's what it is for me. Among nothing else, it is community, and if nothing else, it's something I can do to stay busy when my mind is just rolling, and I feel like everything else in the world is too much. And I say, okay, well, this is something that feels positive for me, and this is something I can do at least for the next couple of hours while I sit down to edit this episode or while I sit down to research the next episode. Finally, Generation GC stickers. The first batch has been sent out. They are all sent out, which is super cool. If you have received stickers already, please take pictures, post them, tag Generation GC Pod. I want to see that y'all are enjoying the stickers. Show me where you're hanging them up. More stickers have been ordered, and there's 2 ways you can get them. Number 1, go to anchor.fm/GenerationGCPod and support the show on there. All of the money that comes in through Anchor, through the supporters, and through the sponsor ads that roll in the beginning of the show, that all goes right back into the show itself. It helps me buy headphones, it helps me buy cords and adapters and laptop stands and stickers and anything that I need to keep the show going. It all goes right back into that. Number 2, you can make a charitable donation. Go to blacklivesmatters.card.co. There's a lot of great groups listed there that could use your help, whatever you're comfortable giving. And then you're going to take a screenshot of either your support of the show on Anchor or your charitable donation and send that to me along with your mailing address. You can email generationgcpod@gmail.com, or you can send me a DM on Twitter or Instagram, generationgcpod. Thank you all for tuning in to episode 47, The Innocent with John P. Parhomski. I think y'all are really going to enjoy this episode. So now on to the episode.
So, The Innocent is technically a track by Goldfinger. So, technically this is not a Good Charlotte song, but the song does feature Good Charlotte and Mest. If you go on Genius.com, which I was looking at to get the lyrics, it says it's on Goldfinger's album Stomping Ground from the year 2000, but that's not actually the case. So I don't know what's up, Genius. It is included on the Best of Goldfinger from 2005, like their greatest hits release, but everything I can understand, and there really was not a whole lot on this song, but this was a standalone single. When it was released, it was just a single, it was a song. It was a 9/11 World Trade Center tribute that came out pretty fast. And like, John, I know that we were even messaging about this. Like before, yeah. I was like, I'm working on the notes, and why is there a Punk News article that
Girl,
said
it was quick.
Yeah, so the Punk News article is dated September 20th. So that was announcing the song. So I assume that was, either the day, maybe the day after the song came out. So basically in a little over a week, they got together and did this song. So that's pretty fast. Benji Madden did co-write this, as mentioned in a bio on Goldfinger's website about the album. Setlist, this setlist.fm entries are a little confusing, and I will say, like, setlist.fm in general, in the early 2000s, the setlist.fm entries seem to be just missing a lot, not just for Good Charlotte, but for a lot of artists, because I think people weren't used to this idea of, like, logging set lists many moons ago. But setlist.fm does have one record of Good Charlotte playing it live at Power Station in Auckland, October 5th, 2001, and 4 records of Goldfinger playing it live a couple times in 2001, 2002, 2017. There's also a video on YouTube of Mest and Good Charlotte playing it live on Warped Tour. And I was trying to think, and John, maybe you know this, because I don't, because I was trying to think of when that may have happened, because I don't believe Good Charlotte and Mest were on Warped Tour the same year. Like, Good Charlotte was on it 2001, 2002, 2004, and then like 2016 and 2018 or 2019, the 25th anniversary, and they played a date in 2018. Mest was on 2003, 2005, and like I think some of the more later years. But can you think of, like, would that have been 2002 maybe, and like Mest just hopped on a local show or something, or?
Possibly, and it's really strange because a lot of bands, like whenever Warped Tour comes to town, maybe they're not like on the actual tour, but they will jump on.
Come and hang out.
Yeah.
Or they'll even like come and hang out.
Yeah. And then, and they'll be like side stage, like sitting side stage and like, oh, that's my homie. Let's jump on the song. But I don't ever, in the history of like me being a fan of Good Charlotte, remember like that being a thing, like especially on Warped Tour. Like I don't remember.
Right, like you would have. I feel like you would have remembered that.
Yes, girl, the start of Armageddon, honey. Right. As soon as that comes through, baby, I'm there. Right.
So what I've gathered, and I think there are a couple other videos on YouTube, and there is like a live Goldfinger recording, but definitely Good Charlotte and Goldfinger have played it. It seems like Mest has played it live too. Mm-hmm. Good Charlotte has toured with both Mest and Goldfinger. I don't believe that the three of them toured all together at once.
No, ma'am. And I do not think that has ever happened. But, however, we have 2021, and would that not be one of those tours where the Innocent, like all the bands that played on the Innocent were in actual tour in 2021?
Hello, Editing Molly coming in here. So this episode was recorded before the Silver Screen Romance episode with Jim Lorino. Jim and I talked about the Young and the Hopeless tour, and he saw that tour in Philadelphia and told me that Mest and Goldfinger both performed at that show. So there you go. Mest, Goldfinger, and Good Charlotte on at least one show together.
Well, but here's the thing is, so Goldfinger did do a quarantine video of the Innocent. Mm-hmm. They changed it up a bit. I guess I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to Goldfinger. I didn't realize Mike Herrera was in Goldfinger. So I put on this video and I'm like, oh, they got MXPX on this song instead of Good Charlotte. Yeah. But I think they changed the lyrics up a bit, but it's great. And we'll talk more in a bit, but definitely I think this song could be applicable to the current year.
Yeah, totally. And then also, I just have to re-announce, like, they have to tour together. If we have, like, a Goldfinger, Good Charlotte, and Mest tour, like, it would just blow my mind. Yeah. Like, I would not even know what to do.
Yeah.
Uniting the States tour 2021 again. Like,
I know, I remember you said that on Twitter. Yeah. That'll be cool. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I feel like Good Charlotte likes to take younger bands on tour.
Yeah.
Like maybe some of the newer MDDN artists, but
special guest water parks. I mean, throw them on the back burner. You know?
Right. But John, I want to help our listeners get to know you.
Yeah.
So first question I always like to ask our guests is, when did you first hear Good Charlotte and what were your first thoughts on them?
Oh my God, Miss Molly. Good golly, Miss Molly. So I first heard Good Charlotte from one of my closest high school friends, Tara. She was a professional at like burning mixed CDs. Nice. And she was just always burning CDs for our closest friends. And, you know, I was in that little pop punk group of friends and, you know, she would always burn CDs. But I grew up as a product of a single parent household. It was only just me and my mom ever growing up in my life. And going into high school, it was a brand new high school. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know what I was doing. Who am I going to be friends with? And then I finally found like this tight-knit group of 4 or 5 people, and they were all into pop punk. They loved New Found Glory. They loved Blink-182. They loved...
So had you known pop punk like before meeting those kids, or was it kind of like, oh, these are...
Well, the only pop punk that I knew was like Blink-182 and Green Day. It was like, Which they
came up a little earlier than GC.
Totally, yeah. And it was just so confusing, you know, being a freshman in high school and not knowing anyone and going to a brand new high school and just meeting this core group of friends that I could really click with, pun intended, the click.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's actually, I think, the song that she burned onto the CD that I knew.
Amazing.
Was like the click, and like she burned it onto the CD, and I was like listening to the lyrics and listening to the boys sing, and I was like, oh my God, I really love this band. And she would always wear all the merchandise. You know, she always had, you know, a Good Charlotte t-shirt on, or had like, you know, remember the little Old English pin? That's Charlotte with the Old English font. I mean, she had them everywhere, you know. And I was like, oh my God, who is Good Charlotte? And so I finally talked to her about the band? And she was like, no, they're the truth for sure. And we started like talking about our childhood, and about like growing up with a broken family, or, not having a like male, role model in our life or whatever. And I just fell in love with their image. It was like to find a band that understands like what it is that you're going through, and as soon as I bought Self-Titled, I mean, it was sign, seal, deliver, girl. It was fucking UPS. Pardon my French. Oh, I can't cuss on this, can I?
Oh, you can. Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't go on the radio.
I am not sure what's censored or not, but sign, seal, deliver, girl. UPS, I mean, delivered.com, house down. To have a band that like actually understands what it's like to like grow up without a dad, and to experience the terrible poverty that includes that. It's wild. And when I discovered them, I was just like, wow, like this is not Blink-182. This is not Green Day. This is not Sublime. This is not all of the stuff that I had been listening to before. This is something new, and this is something relevant to my life. And then
that's what makes them stand out, probably, right? Is that it felt totally relevant to your life.
Yeah, I mean, applicable. I mean, it was like someone took a highlighter and just highlighted like my whole brain. It was just like, yes, this is the band that gets it, like growing up without a dad, and like they just sing about it, and it's like so great. And I was just like, oh yeah, no, yep, it's done. They have my debit card, they have my key, they have my social security number, whatever they need. Like,
yeah. Amazing. So I like to ask people if they've ever seen Good Charlotte live.
Oh, girl.
Although I know that you have seen them live. So could you tell our listeners, I guess, two-part question, how many times you've seen them live, and like the most memorable Good Charlotte show for you?
Totally. Oh my God. It's not embarrassing. There's no shame in the game.
Oh my God.
88 times. It's
amazing.
When you catch the bug, you catch the bug. Yeah. I mean, when you get the GC bug, it just itches at your brain, and you just want to go to that show over and over and over and relive it and relive it. The guys have always put on that show that you need, and it's like you need more, you need more, you need more. It's like,
oh yeah,
it's an addiction. It's really bad, but it's good at the same time. But 88 times. My last time I saw him was here in St. Louis at the pageant, and it is just as golden as the first time that I saw him at the Galaxy back in 2001. They don't lose their magic, and that's so weird for a band to like not lose that spark. Yeah. They put on the same show that they put on fucking 20 years ago. They just put it out, and they serve and they deliver, and it's just like you go and you see it, and it's just like art on stage. I mean, it's not even a band playing music. It's just like, it's something I can't explain. Like the feeling that you get like when you're at a Good Charlotte show is just like, it just consumes you, and it's just like, oh God, it is what it is, you don't really have any words for it. But you said, so I guess my favorite memories of seeing them live.
Yeah, or the most memorable show.
Oh, girl.
I know, you got to pick one.
I know.
Or just like pick one that stands out. I'm sure there's, so many. They're all
I have one that definitely stands out. It was, oh God, what was it? Hold on. It was in Chicago. Hold on. You know how you have to like Google your brain?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it was Chronicles. It was that tour. And it was in Chicago, and I remember we were waiting outside of the venue and waiting to get inside, and like Chicago Good Charlotte fans, like, if there's any listeners that like are from Chicago, y'all are a different breed. I'm just saying. I mean, they are very militant on their Good Charlotte, right? So I'm like, little young kid, up in Chicago, like trying to get into the show.
Oh man.
Girl, it was a stampede. You get into the show, and I was there with like 4 or 5 friends, and then a few people also from Chicago that I had met like online, and we all met up, and we were like, oh, we're gonna like stick together, we're gonna be on the barricade, it's gonna be a whole thing. Girl, then doors open, them Chicago fans don't give a fuck. They will run in, push over everybody, they don't care. It was stampede madness, right? And I'm trying to be innocent, pun intended, but right. I'm like, I'm not trying to like push anyone or anything like that, but I lost everybody. I lost all my friends. No. I was by myself. And so, and it was Lola Ray and Hazen Street and Good Charlotte, and I was like, I don't even care. I lost my friends. As long as I can see my Lola Ray and my Hazen Street, I'm good. I've seen Good Charlotte many times. If I lost my friends, it's fine. But we run into the crowd, and I'm like trying to get in. Lola Ray plays. I'm like, trying to do the tippy toes and like look over. Like,
I'm 5'4", so I get it.
Yes, 5'7" here, girl. Yeah. Unite, like we need to get some recognition for short people, but right. But I'm on my tippy toes, like looking for my friends, can't find anybody. Then Hazen Street goes on, and then all hell breaks loose, because it's Hazen Street, and still can't find them. And then finally Good Charlotte goes on, and it's like the ominous music, and it's like and the fog machines, and then the they have the what is it called, where people are buried, the
cemetery.
Yeah, well, the gravestones.
Yes, the gravestones.
Yes, the headstones, and they're like all over the stage, and the gargoyles. I call them gargoyles, but anyway. So I'm like looking everywhere for friends, and then they just blast into whatever song they were doing, and everybody just shoves forward towards the stage. And I'm like in the middle of the pit. I'm so used to being on the barricade, but I'm not used to being in the middle of the pit.
The barricade is like, I mean, it's like you can still get shoved, but like it's it feels a little safer than being in the middle.
Yeah, totally. Girl, it was like a blender. I was like tossed around, and like, with Good Charlotte shows, like 99% of the time I'm going to be on the barricade, like that's just how you think, but yeah, girl, I lost all my friends. And then I got stuck, but luckily, so this is to wrap up the story. I'm sorry I get long-winded, but I got stuck with this couple, and it was this guy and this girl. They had their hands around each other, and they were like holding on for dear life, and they looked at me, I looked at them. And the crowd kept on like shoving me into them, and I kept on saying, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And they were like laughing. They were like, it's fine, don't worry about it, like it's whatever. And then I guess I got in front of this kid, right? He must have been like 12 or 13. He was right in back of me. He decked me in the back of my head, and my glasses went flying. Glasses went flying into the pit, and I'm like, that
was always a fear of mine.
Girl, every show, but I always like made sure like I bent the back of my arms of my glasses to like cradle my ears. But girl, this boy just decked me in the back of the head. I guess he was mad I got in front of him, but honey, we're at a punk rock show. I don't know. I'm not
right. Like, what are you expecting?
Right. But this couple that I kept on apologizing to, they saw that happen. The girl, which I love, she jumped and she pushed the guy away from me, or the teen or whatever away from me. And then the guy like embraced me. And then she came back, and they made like a little circle around me because they saw I didn't have my glasses. And they like grabbed arms, and I had like this little circle around me, like the circle of love. And I was
amazing.
Like, oh. And they were like pushing people off. He has to find his glasses. He has to find his glasses.
Aww.
And so I'm down on my hands and knees in the middle of the fucking Good Charlotte mosh pit. And they're like, find your glasses. I felt like, what's her name from Scooby-Doo? Jinkies.
Yeah.
What's her name? Thelma.
Velma,
I can't find my glasses,
really.
you know, and I felt like her. But that's what I love, and that's my favorite memory of a Good Charlotte show, is that the unity is always there, and the boys always preach that, like, take care of each other. If someone's suffering, someone falls down, or someone jinkies loses their glasses, you know, you form a circle and you take care of that person. And I ended up finding my glasses, and not one scratch, not one bend. It was just like they never even fell off my face, you know, like it was perfect. But anyway, that was a long-winded response. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's a great story though. I love that. And it just shows that, like at a concert, stuff happens. Your glasses might fall off your face, but you take care of each other. So we had a fun connection on Twitter through Fearless Records. I had been on their street team for a bit, and I helped out for them at Warped Tour. You had actually toured with Fearless for Warped Tour, toured with Alisana, Artist versus Poet. So what made you want to tour and do merch for bands and record labels?
So I blame Good Charlotte, honestly. It's their fault.
Wow, shocking. Shocking. I did not foresee that answer at all.
You know, you just see this live music so much, and you're just so consumed with, you know, the happiness and the joy that it brings to you. And I first discovered Fearless because I was obsessed with the band Sugar Cult.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, girl. I'm bouncing off the balls, you know? Oh, God, love those boys. You know, great band. Saw them several times live, and I was just like, I love this band. So, you know, early 2000s, you know, you get online and you go on the band's website, and they have message boards, you know, and so I joined the Sugar Cult message board and completely fell in love with the band. And they were like very, how do you say, where you they participated a lot in the discussions of the threads. You know, we would, you know, just start like a bullshit thread and like just talk shit, and then, you know, the band members would just jump in and like talk shit as well. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like great. You know, I mean, Good Charlotte back in the day, they used to do that, but, you know, at that time I knew Good Charlotte's band members were like falling off of their message board. They weren't really communicating, but then you discover Sugar Cult, and it's like, oh my God. But I will never forget. I'm going to have to
put a Sugar Cult song on the playlist.
Girl, yes. Girl, yes. Oh my God. Oh God, I have so many. Like, oh, crying. What's the one? Crying. Oh my God. We're going to have to edit that one out. Like, my singing voice is terrible, but actually keep it in. I don't care. Okay. But discovering Sugar Cult. And then someone posted on the Sugar Cult message board that Fearless Records was looking for an ambassador from St. Louis. Like they needed more, I guess, footwork, you know, to work shows, you know, for example, like handing out the CDs and the stickers and things like that outside of shows. And I was like, shit, that's my gig for sure. You know, you know, growing up and going to shows and like seeing those people like standing outside and doing that, I was like, how do I get a gig? Like, how are you doing? What you doing? But then it just kind of fell in my lap. Honestly, I just started doing street teaming for Fearless, and I was just, lack of better words, fearless on it. Like I just went ham. To be, you know? I went ham. I was like at every show handing out Fearless stuff. I mean, they would send me through Postal Service. They would send me all of the boxes of the promotional material. Go to the record stores and, you know, go to this show, go to that show, do what you need to do. And I'm like, okay, well, honey, I'm going to get it done. And I ended up I guess making an impression, you know, because I would go to record stores and I would like sit down and like make a display. Like,
Love that. Yeah.
I would like, they would give me CDs and posters, like, for example, lack of better words, I guess, we'll say Sugar Cult Lights Out, like,
Yeah.
great album, right? They would send me promo material for Lights Out, and I would like create this like 3D display at Vintage Vinyl, which is like one of our record stores. RIP, it's no longer on.
We have a Vintage Vinyl in New Jersey.
Yes, come through.
I don't know if it's like related, but
yeah, I love that. God, Vintage Vinyl unite.
and I have no idea if it's like related at all. But there's a store called Vintage Vinyl in New Jersey.
Anyway, let's just talk about it. But yeah, no, I would put up these elaborate displays, and then you know, I did that consistently, record after record after record. I mean, So They Say, who is also from St. Louis. I mean, Sugar Cult. All these bands, you know, and I would just do these crazy displays. Portugal the Man. You remember them?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And I would just do these crazy displays. And I guess I made an impression with Fearless, and I was lucky enough to get a phone call from Bridget with Fearless, and she was like, have you ever toured before? I said, oh, with just local bands mostly. She was like, we feel like you are like part of our culture. Would you ever be interested in like doing a Warped Tour?
Yes.
And I'm like, duh. Like, I like put my hair between my fingers and tucked it between my ear, and I was like, yes, girl, yes,
Yeah.
let's do it, you know. And yeah, it was just a domino effect after that. Fearless is one of those labels that you just cannot go wrong with. I mean, the bands that they sign, the message that they put out there, I mean, you just cannot go wrong with Fearless. And they live by their words, you know.
Amazing.
I think, did I answer that question right?
Yeah, you definitely did. So last question before we dive into The Innocent. So you currently are a technical analyst. You studied web design. I mean, look, honestly, I would say most people who have some experience touring, it is not like a lifelong career, but what made you choose like your current path in particular?
Oh God, homesick.
Yeah.
Being on the road, and you know, I'm just so grateful for all the opportunities I was ever given with bands or record labels, you know, just being on the road and touring and, you know, meeting so many incredible people and doing so many incredible things. But I got homesick. I miss my mom, you know, I miss my friends, I miss my family. And also I just, in the back of my head, I said, well, touring, I can't do this until I retire. I have to like get back to my roots and like follow like what it is that I love. Although I did love touring. I mean, I can't tell you how many memories I have.
Oh yeah.
I would do it today. I mean, if Miss Quarantina was not a thing, you know, but yeah, I miss the city. I miss my family. I miss my friends, and I just wanted to go back to school and get back to my roots and follow what it is that I truly love, which is computers, basically, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care what it is. You just put me in front of a computer, I'm just going to find a problem, you know?
I mean, that's great because I have to like, you know, update WordPress, and I'm like getting a migraine because I'm so stressed out.
WordPress.
Yeah.
And their technical support, I mean, I'm not talking shit on them, but it's lackluster.
Yeah. So let's dive into The Innocent. So, you know, knowing you, John, just from how I've known you over social media for a little bit, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of Good Charlotte or Good Charlotte related tracks you could talk about, but why did you want to talk about The Innocent in particular?
Okay, so The Innocent has been one of those songs where it's not like on any Good Charlotte album. And
It's not technically a Good Charlotte song.
Exactly. Yeah. But right. So it's like not on any of their albums, but it was always one of those songs that like stuck with me. You know, ever since it was released, it just stuck with me. And it was just like one of those songs that you could just hear and then you just feel it. Because it brought you back to what it was that you were experiencing on that day. You know, unfortunately, you know, the events that happened on September 11th happened, and you know, we were all like confused. I mean, it doesn't matter who you were. I mean, your gender, your race, your creed, whatever it was everyone's experience, and we all experienced it. And hearing The Innocent until today, even, I mean, it just rings true. It's just like bringing back all of those old, ugly, sad memories, and also a memory of hope and love, you know, that, you know, the bands that you know and love just came together and they just like formed this like super group, you know. Yeah. And they just put this shit out and they were like, whatever, here it is, you know. And it's just like, how did you do that, you know? But I
maybe they were just all in LA at the same time,
right?
Kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, because they couldn't Zoom, you know.
Right. This was before that existed.
It was insane, you know, to just even hear that message of love, even back then, to have all of these bands just come together and just unite and just create this art that you just don't understand what's going on, but all these bands that you love just create kind of a sense of understanding. And, you know, they're speaking, like what I felt with The Innocent was like all three bands were like screaming at their fans, like, it's going to be okay. We're all in this together. Everything's going to be okay. And the reason I wanted to talk to you about this song was because I'm feeling very much that part right now, you know, during COVID. And like, so I was just like, oh, I got to talk to Molly girl.
Yeah.
Like, she gonna bring some sense into this, you know?
Yeah. So in whatever way you're comfortable sharing, you know, you don't have to share anything you're not, you know, open to sharing, but in whatever way you're comfortable sharing, like, what's your memory of that day, like of 9/11?
Oh God, 9/11. That morning was wild. God, what a roller coaster. I'm trying to think back. So I was, I think, a sophomore in high school, and this is, I say funny, but it's like morbidly funny in my sense. I was in art class. It was like my drawing class or whatever. So I got out of English, went to art class, and I had a teacher that was like very anti-technology. Like he hated the television. Do you remember?
And this is before smartphones were even a thing.
Girl, yes. And like the school was like kind of ahead of its time, because I don't know if you had this, but it was called Channel 1, where it was like the channel that came on the TV every morning at 9 a.m. in your school.
No, I don't think we had that.
The TV just turned on and it was called Channel 1. I gotta Google this, girl, because this, I am like, I feel like I'm having a fever dream, but Channel 1 came on, and it was a Channel 1 news, daily news for kids, students, and teachers. So that Channel 1 came on our TV, and it was like, usually like we're used to like, oh, today in today's news. But my teacher hated that thing. Like he hated the TV. He would always turn it off when Channel 1 came on. And I remember Channel 1 coming on, and immediately it was like something about September 11th, but we didn't know what was going on. It was just an image of a burning building. Oh, God. And immediately my teacher went off or went on and like turned the TV off. Like he always turned it off. Like I was like, oh, it's probably a documentary. Like I saw it was the World Trade Center on fire. I thought it was like back when, remember, like in 93 or 95, when somebody like drove a bomb into the garage or something. I was thinking like it was a documentary, or like they're like going over that. I was like, okay, whatever. And so we all just, you know, played it off. It was what it was. Like, we didn't think. So like we're halfway through the drawing class, and it was like the class was like perspective, so we had to like draw this apple. Like, it's so silly, Molly. I like remember this till the day I die. Like, remember like drawing this apple, and I remember having to go to the bathroom. So I said, Mr. Perry, can I go to the bathroom? He said, yeah, that's fine. So I remember leaving the classroom, and the way our classroom was set up is it was connected to another classroom with the advanced art class, you know, and so I had to like go through the advanced class to like get down to the bathroom, and they were all like swarmed around the TV. And I remember like as I was going to the bathroom, like glancing at their TV, there was 8 students, right, in that class, and they were all swarmed around the TV, and I saw the same image of this burning World Trade Center. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why is everybody watching a documentary about the bombing back in the day, you know, like,
right, not realizing, like,
no, I don't know what that is, you know. And so I go to the bathroom, and then I come back upstairs and go back into the classroom to get to my classroom. It had multiplied.
Oh my God.
There were probably 30 people in that classroom, swarmed around the TV. And so I'm like, what is everybody watching this documentary? Like, so I kind of like weasel my way in. I'm like, what y'all watching? They were like, the country is under attack. I said, what do you mean? No, they're flying planes into the building, girl. I'm like, what? And then you just see, and then I saw, and I'll never forget, the second plane fly into the second tower live on TV. And I'm like, oh shit, this is some real shit.
Yeah.
So I go back into my classroom, and I'm like, y'all, like, we need to be watching this stuff over in Mr. I forget his name's class. Like, Mr. Perry doesn't matter anymore at this point. I'm like, we need to be watching this. Our country's under attack. My teacher got so mad at me. Everybody's like, what? I was like, yeah, they're flying planes into buildings and stuff. And my teacher got so mad at me, he wrote me up, and I got like, I had to go down to the vice principal's office on September 11th.
Oh my God.
Because I instigated something in my class. Like, everybody left my class. So it was like I said that, and then slowly my friends started getting up, and then my friends' friends started getting up, and then people I didn't know. Because it was a class of like 10 or 15. Everybody started going over to that classroom because we were connected, and we all started watching it. Oh my God, Mr. Perry, when I say he was so mad at me for exposing September 11th to the class. Like, but yeah, that is my experience with September 11th. But the funny thing is, though, I went down to the vice principal's office, and he laughed. He was like, this is the silliest write-up I've ever seen. He said, this is the most serious day of our lives right now. Like, he wanted to send me to in-school suspension for 3 days. My vice principal like gave me a piece of chocolate and was like, good, move along.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, what was your experience? I know you were pretty young.
Yeah, so I was in 5th grade, and I also grew up in North Jersey. So what that means is that I grew up in a town where like a lot of kids' parents worked in New York.
Jesus.
Neither of my parents worked in New York at that time. My dad had been working from home for a bit at that point. I'm not sure how long, but my mom was working, you know, elsewhere in North Jersey at that point. But when I was little, my dad worked in the towers when I was like little, but it had been like several years by that point. So I was in 5th grade, and they did not tell us anything at school. Probably because like it was elementary school, and like many of our parents worked in the city, and like literally some kids had parents who worked in the towers, right? So I didn't find out until after school. Like, I come back from gym class and there's a note on my desk that's like, Molly, your dad left a message with the office. He's going to pick you up from school, and Hebrew school is canceled today. So he picks us up and tells us. And we definitely talked about it the next day at school. And my town did get lucky in the sense that the train line, the Raritan Valley line that went through my town was like late that day. Like, one of the trains that a lot of people would have been on was late that day.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, you know, several people from my hometown passed away that day, you know, still. But yeah, it was like, I knew what was going on. And, you know, that night at dinner, I remember like watching the news with my parents. But I think it wasn't until, you know, unfortunately seeing a lot of like anti-Middle Eastern sentiments start to come out and all the stuff about the war that I think it like really hit me like the impact. But yeah, that like it was like close to home, but not. And I was definitely like young, but yeah, it's definitely not something you ever forget.
Yeah. Oh God. How could you, you know?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, it's, yeah, you know, I was physically closer to the city, but like it's such a significant event, like in so many ways, you know.
There's no words, you know.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's why, you know, people wanted to write songs and make art about it. I mean, that's My Chemical Romance essentially started like after 9/11. Like, Gerard Way was doing like art, like visual art. And then 9/11 happened and he, you know, changed to music. Yeah. But I want to talk about The Innocent. And I mean, you know, we know this song is a 9/11 tribute, but I guess I want to know, like, in your words, in your mind, what's it about? Like, how is it talking about 9/11? Like, what are they trying to say?
Well, what I feel about The Innocent is that it was like a call to unity, you know. I guess, like, with the rock scene, you know, you have ska bands and you have, you know, metal bands, you have like all this or whatever, but like when The Innocent came out, it was just like, fuck it all, you know, like, who cares? Let's just get together. Let's make a song. Let's just be together, you know, and observe this moment of mourning and moment of sadness and sorrow, but also like an explosion of hope, you know. I feel like with The Innocent, you know, the country, as you stated, you know, was very divided when September 11th happened, and it was very anti-Muslim. It was very anti anyone who didn't look like white, you know, and just to blame all the problems on like all the non-white people. It was a call to arms to just be united and let's be together. Let's take care of each other. This is what we're here for. And, you know, Molly, if I'm speaking honestly, I don't know how I would have navigated 9/11 without Good Charlotte.
Yeah.
It was a very confusing and weird time for everybody, and to have a band that I can actually like listen to, and then, you know, all due respect, also Mest and Goldfinger, just to have a message of hope, a message of unity, you know, that we can all come together. We can be one. We're all fucking lost. We're all confused. We don't know what's going on, you know, and that's how I interpreted the song when I first heard it, you know.
I think
I'm sorry for using the F-bomb so many
No,
times.
you can use it. I mean,
God.
I like this show. It doesn't air on commercial radio or anything, so cursing is fine. And I mark it as explicit, so you're fine. Yeah, I mean, I think like obviously this song, and we'll have a conversation in a little bit about how it applies today, but
Totally.
I feel like in terms of 9/11, it's like you turn on the news and you're just frustrated and confused and feeling helpless at all the tragedy and like realizing just how much hate is around you. Like being Jewish, sadly 9/11 spurred a lot of anti-Muslim hate from Jews. And not that there wasn't any of that before, and there definitely has been. I would say, obviously there's lots of tension between Jews and Muslims, and that's gone back and forth in both directions. But there was like, you notice a lot of it come up after 9/11. And I think this song is just about like how many innocent victims there are. Like, it's not people who are like, I'm going to go to war for my country and put my life on the line. It's like literally innocent people. It's people who just wanted to go to work today to provide for their family, Like, I knew someone, a friend of my brother's dad, like, was trying to carry an old a lady in a wheelchair down the stairs and
Jesus
died.
Christ.
Yeah. So I think you're right that the song is a call to unity. I think my initial interpretation of it was a little on the like darker side of the seeing like the more frustration, but I think that's both true. And I think it's like, maybe it's a call to unity of sorts that comes out of the frustration that we all feel.
Girl, the frustration is still here.
Oh, yeah.
When you listen to The Innocent, even in 2020, honey, we are still frustrated, you and I.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little about, how it applies today. I think this was a great choice for Goldfinger to do for a quarantine video.
Yeah.
I don't know how people are in St. Louis, but I will say, like, since I've been, it's been less than a week that I've been in Philadelphia. So, very, very hard to really compare, but compared to, my grocery store in New Jersey versus the grocery store I went to in Philly yesterday, I feel like in Philly, people have been better about wearing masks. And like, I went to a co-op the other day and people like waited in line patiently to get in. And it was not a big deal, But it's still like so often sometimes people just don't pay attention to restrictions. And it's just like,
it's
literally.
So easy.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a couple like cool fashionable masks, and I did resist it for a bit at the beginning, I'll admit. Like I would wear bandanas at first for probably a while, but then I was like, all right, this is going to go on for a while, so let me get like some cool looking masks.
Yeah. Let's look glamorous while taking care of our fellow man. Like, can we not?
Right. It's like
some glitter on the mask, girl.
I literally have a sequin mask and a matching sequin scrunchie.
Yes, that is my girl.
Yeah.
Miss Molly.
I'll have to send you a picture.
Please do.
But yeah, I definitely feel like the song applies today in its own ways. Like,
totes.
Definitely so many people that just went to a grocery store, or in some case, yes, sometimes people get sick because they have been reckless, but not everyone who got sick was reckless. Maybe they went to the grocery store. Maybe their sister who lives with them was going out and being irresponsible. Maybe, you never know. It's like you can do all these things to prevent it, but nothing is 100%. And
you could have gloves on and a mask and use hand sanitizer and go to the grocery store, and some little dirty bird decides to walk past you and like cough. That's how it happens,
Yeah, literally.
And it's tragic, but this is our country. This is what we're dealing with right now,
Yeah. It's it's like a big life shift, and it's like it is an ongoing trauma, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like people, it's like the ongoing, it's a lot mentally, and I feel like we have to acknowledge that. Like, number one, the ongoing trauma of like a deadly infectious illness.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, the trauma of staying inside, which like, even if, you know, you either live in like a very healthy, happy household or you know, live alone, like, is hard, you know? And plus
Totally.
people losing jobs, like, we have to acknowledge like how traumatic it all is.
And also like our people that are friends who are single who have lost their jobs and like dealing with mental illness, like, or depression, you know, it's I don't have any words, Molly. Like it's incredible. There are no words, you know? Yeah.
It's a lot, but I think I can't stress enough how great I think it was like Goldfinger did this in their quarantine videos, because
totally,
you know, sadly there have been so many innocent victims.
Over 250,000.
That's insane. On a lighter note,
yes,
I want to talk about the connection between Good Charlotte and Goldfinger, specifically John Feldmann.
Oh, and Uncle Feldy.
So I had so much fun putting this together because there's so much to talk about with Feldmann. Oh. So, John, you haven't heard this episode yet, but on episode 39 of the show, I was joined by Maria Sherman to talk about makeshift love. And she shared in one of her articles about Good Charlotte, she had shared a story of at their reunion show at the Troubadour, John Feldmann crowd surfed during Makeshift Love.
Stop it!
And that he first met the twins when Goldfinger was playing at the 930 Club in DC. Benji crowd surfed the stage, stole the microphone, and screamed, "Good Charlotte!" And then like approached John Feldmann after the show. And, you know, it worked out because his band was good. And clearly they have such a great connection. But like, that's the kind of thing that you could have screwed yourself over so bad. But if you do it right, like, it's awesome. So John Feldmann, Good Charlotte, they go way back. We're just going to go through all of these times he's worked with Good Charlotte.
Yes.
So he helped write the anthem. And here's what he said to Louder Sound. So he said, Good Charlotte loved Goldfinger and wanted to work with me early on, but they'd already hooked up with Eric Valentine and Don Gilmore, so I knew I wasn't going to end up producing them. But we ended up writing the anthem together, and that whole friendship really came from a place of like, how can I help these guys? No one has a crystal ball, and you can only see how your life has worked by connecting the dots and looking backwards. And he says that as they blew up and became this massive phenomenon, we stayed really good friends, and Goldfinger opened up for Good Charlotte a bunch of times. Amazing. Amazing.
It warms my heart.
It does.
Could you imagine, like, being, like, a young kid and, like, looking up to this band, and then, like, this band, like, wants to work with you, or, like, the lead singer, at least, like, wants to work with you? I would not know what to do, you know?
Yeah.
John Feldmann approaches Good Charlotte and says, "Hey, let's do some shit." I'm like, "Oh my god," you know?
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah. So Feldmann also helped co-write a few tracks on Chronicles, I Just Want to Live, The Truth, and It Wasn't Enough. He also tracked...
Wasn't enough! Sorry, I had to...
Such a good song. And he tracked additional guitars on I Just Want to Live.
Yes.
Something that I did not learn until recently was that he was the one that introduced Good Charlotte to Dean Butterworth, their drummer of like 15 years now.
Girl, you sent me these notes like before we did the podcast, and I like had to tell my boyfriend. I was like, "Did you know? Actually, like,
did you know
this happened?" You know.
So what's the boyfriend's response? Was your boyfriend like, "Oh, cool," or was he like, "Oh
no,
my
he was
God.
goofed and gagged. Like he was like goofed and gagged.
Oh, good.
So Dean Butterworth, he did drums for Morrissey, right?
Yep.
Girl.
So my dad knew who Dean Butterworth was when Dean Butterworth joined Good Charlotte. I was like, yeah, Good Charlotte has a new drummer. And my dad's like, oh yeah, Dean Butterworth, I know him. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh my God, perfection.
Is Good Charlotte still cool? I don't know if my dad knows who this drummer is. So Billy did an interview with Ultimate Guitar where he talks about
Billy.
it.
We stand Billy.
Yeah. So Billy says, we came across Dean because we're friends with John Feldmann, who knew him. John kept saying if we ever needed a drummer to give him a call. And all of a sudden we did. As everybody knows, we had a lot of drummer problems, so it hasn't been easy for us. When Dean come in, he took all the stress off us. Having someone we knew come in and do it without questioning us was a godsend. We've had drummers before where we've gone into the studio and they've started whining about the drums or whatever, and that is the last thing you really want to hear. And Dean's been their drummer for, a long time now, which is fantastic.
Yeah. God bless Dean.
Yeah. It must have been a great feeling for them to, finally connect with Dean and be like, all right, this guy's going to stick around for a while.
I mean, and also, you have to think in retrospect, how much Joel loves Morrissey and,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
You have Morrissey's drummer.
Oh my God, that must be the coolest
wrap
thing.
Your brain around, I could not.
Morrissey's drummer plays in my band. Yeah, that's insane.
Blessings.
John Feldmann also helped write on Cardiology. He helped write music for Counting the Days and Standing Ovation and lyrics for Standing Ovation. He also produced their 2016 comeback album, Youth Authority, the first time Feldmann produced a GC album.
Yes.
Joel told HMV.com that they've always wanted to make a record with John. We've written songs with him before, but not a full record. He's a very hardworking guy, very obsessive, and he expects a lot of the people he works with. It's definitely not a vacation. We've been a band for 20 years, and we're all good players, but John still pushed us really hard. He's a producer who puts you through it, and you grow from that. He helped co-write on the album, and he was featured in the Makeshift Love video. And Alt Press also gave a shout-out to his production in their review. He says that while Youth Authority likely won't catapult Good Charlotte to the same heights as Blink-182's Feldmann-produced chart-topping comeback, he's helped the Maddens channel the emotional heft that's always been at the core of their music.
Come through.
Amazing. Amazing. So yeah. They go way back. I mean, it's hard to say what the future of anything looks like right now, but I
totally
would not be surprised if they, work with Feldmann again in the future.
Totally. Or tour. I mean, Molly, I'm just saying, a Good Charlotte and Goldfinger tour. I
that would be very cool.
Oh God, I am just really pushing for that. But
I do want to also give a shout out to Mest, who Tony Lovato is on this song. I think he's at the end. I don't think he's featured very prominently, really.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But Good Charlotte and Mest also go way back. Benji, later after this song, was featured on the song Jaded on Mest's 2003 self-titled album. At the time, they were close friends. I don't know how close they have remained. But yeah, there was definitely a lot of history there. I'm sure we'll talk more about Mest, but with this episode being that this is a Goldfinger song, I wanted this conversation to be more about Feldmann. So Goldfinger, Good Charlotte, and Mest. I mean, it's a very early 2000s combination. I mean, great lineup. Do you have any like specific memories you want to share about this song?
God, with The Innocent, with this specific song, it gave me a lot of solace and closure about like what happened on that fateful day, but also, being old, I guess I'll say old, like being so thirsty for the song and to find some kind of like closure or something that is going to help me with coping with September 11th. I was on the Good Charlotte message board back in the day.
Yeah.
And I saw a thread and I clicked on it and it was a link to the song. And I was like, well, I'm clicking on this link. And I downloaded the song.
Because this would have been like before iTunes was widespread. It was definitely before Spotify. So it was like
thumb drives, girl.
Yeah.
We didn't have thumb drives back then. I'm like aging myself. Like, but yeah, it was like, oh my God, like I have to have this song in my life. Like I need to find some kind of solace or understanding like through this very difficult moment, that our nation is going through. And then you have like 3 of your favorite bands like coming together, making a song, like recording it. Like, and the funny thing is, Molly, that, bands even till this day, like they can't even do that. Like, and Good Charlotte and Goldfinger and Mest did it. Like they just put out a song. Like it was like a Kiki moment, right? And so I was like, whatever, I'm gonna download this song. But I knew, like, I had my AOL dial-up, got to put on my floppy disk and download the song because the school had better internet than I did. So I ended up downloading the song onto a 3.5 floppy disk.
Oh my God.
Bringing it home and putting it on my computer, and then the rest is history.
Amazing. I love that. Yeah, I found this song through my like digging of the internet, probably like 2004, 2005, when I had like been a Good Charlotte fan for a few years.
Yeah.
And then was reaching the point where I was like, well, I need to know everything about them. And I found this song. So I unfortunately was not, listening to them when this song came out, when 9/11 happened. But I love it. That's such a great memory with the floppy disk. Let's read some feedback and responses.
Oh my
to this
God,
song.
here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Punktastic, in their review of the Best of Goldfinger album, called it corny. They say, there are too many new songs on here, though, and for someone who thinks their older efforts far outweigh their newer ones. By the way, that is like such a cliched and stodgy take that I'm sick of, that people have of like so many bands.
.com.
Right. As a bonus, we get the innocent, the corny post 9/11 tribute in quotation marks with Good Charlotte and Mest, but I'd much rather have seen some more older songs. The lack of answers or Chris Caton is pretty criminal. I mean, okay, I don't feel like I'm enough of a Goldfinger fan to like comment on what songs they did or didn't include, but
when they talk about Chris Caton, I'm so sorry. Like, I cannot laugh harder. Like, Chris Caton, are you talking about that? Like, as opposed to like an actual like tribute to 9/11? Like, Chris Caton, okay, goodbye. Like, anyway, he's dismissed. Move on.
But it's also like, that's what like I like when best of albums have like not just the stereotypical like hits, but the deeper cuts, the standalone songs that might not have had like a release before.
He's just mad because Good Charlotte was on it.
Probably.
He's mad at Benji. Let's just be honest.
So this song has been included on a few, lists of songs about 9/11. KTT2.com. It was on Wikipedia's official list. I'm sure it's on others as well. So we talked about Goldfinger's quarantine video.
Yes.
I want to read some comments on Goldfinger's quarantine video just because there's a lot of, I mean, they really run the gamut. So, Ant Circus says, Goldfinger has been the best part of this quarantine. I, again, hadn't been paying like a ton of attention to everything they did, but like, I'm not mad.
Yeah. Totally.
XWT Diamond Dust says, I've honestly never listened to much Goldfinger before. I feel like I've missed out. And like, honestly, same, because like, I know this song and I know all of Feldmann's work with like Good Charlotte and Blink and so many other bands, but like I don't really know Goldfinger's music, so I feel like I have to go educate myself. Dave597 says this was written for 9/11, but the meaning still holds true for the pandemic.
Amen.
Yep. Pure KAOZ, Pure Cows, I don't know how I'm supposed to pronounce that.
Chaos.
Said, oh, there we see.
I think it's chaos.
Yeah, it definitely is.
We're all in chaos anyway.
It definitely is. Pure Chaos, spelled KAOZ, said, essential worker here. I've been on 50 to 60-hour weeks since all this started. I wanted to say thank you for these videos. They have been a great escape and have helped keep me sane during the free time I have.
Amen.
Amazing. Like, I can't imagine Goldfinger wanted anything better than that, you know?
Right?
Yusuf Adi Gunawan said, I'm a doctor treating COVID-19 patients.
Jesus.
I feel so proud while showing Goldfinger's quarantine videos to my patients. Goldfinger showed them that people can still be making something even though they're quarantined. I'm 34 years old and still listening to Goldfinger. Hopefully someday I can watch your live performance in Indonesia.
Oh my God.
Amazing.
Indonesia, baby.
Yeah. Last
God.
comment we'll read from here is Mike Gillek, who just says that Mike's dental hygiene is outstanding. Thanks for that deep view of your homes, guys. For someone who probably won't have a chance to see Goldfinger at a live show, these pandemic releases are pure gold. I mean, not wrong. Like.
Anything Mike Herrera does is not wrong. I mean, let's be honest.
I know we've got to have an episode talking about like Good Charlotte and MXPX. That'll have to be a whole episode.
Like, girl.
Let's read some comments from song meetings because there's a few.
There's some good ones.
So Faith said, did they make a religious statement on the song? It's a kick-ass song, really cool, and I absolutely love it, but I can't help thinking there's a religious political statement in it. Oh, well. I don't see it as religious, but I guess I could see how someone might see it as... I don't know. I'm like trying to rationalize it, but I don't know how
it's
this
not
would be.
the T. Faith, I'm so sorry. Like, you missed the mark on this one.
Yeah.
But
there were a lot of people like back and forth in the comments of like, is this religious? Is this not? People talking about MXPX in the comments. And I'm like, before Mike Herrera was in Goldfinger. Megs said, this song is so great. We've got also these songs that sound the same, written about the World Trade Center, and not that I'm bashing them, but they all get to sound the same. But then one listen to this, and it's just like, whoa. What they're saying may sound outright blunt and in your face, but it's what needs to be said, and if that's what it takes, then so be it.
Girl, you have said it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you did the asterisks, like, yes, come through, girl. You
Need to Listen said,
yes.
I love GC. They're my fave band, but I just don't like this song. I don't know why, but the lyrics make sense with the whole September 11th thing. But as much as I love rock, I think it's not the right type of music for something as tragic as September 11th. The song just doesn't hit me like the others do. Huh.
The others do. Well, what
I guess
others?
I guess they're talking about other Good Charlotte songs because this person is saying they love Good Charlotte.
Oh, well,
yeah.
But The Innocent was like specifically targeted about September 11th. So, girl, what are you talking about?
I think they're saying that the music is not tragic enough for like the tragic things the song is talking about. That's what I get out of this comment.
Ew. That's all I have to say, Arrow.
Two more. The Mallet Man said, a lot of people I know will immediately overlook the song because of its hard rockish music. But the lyrics are great and reflect a lot of questions and feelings going through the air on 9/11. And then Semi-Charmed Girl said, I like that this song got across the sadness of the tragedy without all that God bless America shit. See, this is why the show has to be explicit,
Oh
because
my
that comment would not have come across the same way if I didn't
I'm
say
literally
shit.
fanning myself with my hands right now. Like,
I mean, but like, it does. That's true. Like,
yeah.
they're not saying God bless America.
Right. No.
Frankly, I can't imagine Goldfinger and Mest and Good Charlotte singing about God bless America.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's proof that, you know, you can talk about how tragic
Totally.
everything what happened is.
And you can also talk about
patriotic.
politics and be very pro America without being pro your government.
Right. That's
Yeah.
so. John, this has been very fun. As we close up, I like to ask people, how has the song held up for you over time?
Girl. Okay. So with Good Charlotte, you know, the band has given me so much hope. You know, growing up as a closeted gay guy, and I, you know, didn't know what to do with my life, and then coming out, but whatever. This song has rung true for me because so many people are dying right now with COVID, and I don't think that Good Charlotte knew what they were writing when they wrote it.
They were like 22.
Oh no, they knew what they were writing,
like
but they didn't know.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like when you're 22, you don't necessarily like, you know what you're writing about, but like, you're still young, you know? You're still very young.
And I don't think that they knew what impact that they would have on our life right now. You know, it's the start of Armageddon for sure. Mm-hmm. You know, we're like dealing with all these things, and people are dying, and like, what the fuck is the government doing? And like, no one understands what's going on, and it's like utter chaos. So I just want people to like understand, like, it's okay to be confused. You know, we're all in this together, and if you're confused, just reach out to your closest people. I reached out to Molly.
Yeah. You know? If you're confused, just like reach out to people, talk to people, and like, even if you don't have answers, that's okay.
Totally.
Like, a lot of people, there's a lot of things that people don't have answers on right now.
Yeah.
John, what has Good Charlotte meant to you over the years, and how has that changed?
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, it's okay. I think probably most people like tear up at least when I ask this question.
Good Charlotte, for me, has meant everything. As I said earlier in this podcast, I grew up with only my mom. Mm-hmm. I had no one else. I had no brothers, no sisters, no dad. It was just me and my mom. And just growing up with my mom and discovering this band that like understands, you know, they get it. And it's wonderful to, and every single time you see them live, it's like, it's not, it only gets better. Every single time I see him live, it only gets better. Like, there's no like gap, you know, like I'm like, well, Good Charlotte was not that good this day or whatever. They are consistently better. And anytime I talk with the boys, you know, when, you know, I'm a fucking weirdo, so I wait outside of
You're definitely not the only person on the show who's done that. I just want you to know. I just want you to know you are definitely not the only person on the show who's done that.
Yeah, we just wait outside and we just talk to them, and like, they are just so incredibly warm and loving, and they recognize you, and then they talk to you, and it's just like, oh my God. And then especially Paul Thomas, like paulthomas.com, like I'm PaulThomas.com and Billy as well. Like, no, but they see you and they get you and they like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, St. Louis. And they say to you in your face, oh, the kid from St. Louis, good to see you again. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, girl. But I have no words to say other than I fucking love this band, and they have done so many great things for me, and I'm just so lucky to have them in my life. And I haven't said this, but to guide me to friends that I need to have in my life, and Molly, you're one of those.
Oh, I'm so glad, John.
No, girl, don't be glad.
That's so sweet, though.
Girl, you in for a mess of a trouble if you're going to be in Johnny's life, honey. But, you know, to meet you and to meet all my friends that I've had with Good Charlotte, like, what the fuck can you say about them? You know, like, they have done so much for me, and I just am so grateful.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I love that. So, do you have any last words about The Innocent, about Good Charlotte, or about yourself?
Oh, girl. Well, we already went over the floppy disk. Yeah. That was my thing. What I'm looking forward to is about we're talking about the songs and about like adding songs to the playlist.
Yeah. You wanna let's talk about the playlist. So
girl, yes.
We are gonna put The Innocent on this playlist. What is your song recommendation for this playlist? So anything that's not Good Charlotte. Yes,
anything not Good Charlotte. We have talked briefly, I think, on Twitter about the band Meet Me at the Altar.
Yes.
Meet Me at the Altar, pop punk powerhouse. You know, they are the queens. And they're everything. The song is called Garden.
Okay.
So anyone who wants to like stream like some new pop punk magic, it's the Garden. Also, the other song that I want to recommend is it's a drag queen. I'm gay, so I have to recommend my drag queens. It's a drag queen called Evie Oddly. It's spelled Y-V-I-E Oddly. So O-D-D-L-Y. The song is called Hype. It's with Vanessa Vanjie.
Okay.
You'll gag. If you need like sometimes away from like your like 9 to 5, or if you're having a hard time and you just want to dance, like Hype is where you're gonna go. You know.
I wonder if my sister knows it, because my sister and I saw Shangela in Amsterdam 2 years ago. Fantastic. Like I was just like, you know, we were going to Amsterdam, and I was like, do you know what Shangela is? And she was like, we have to go. So I wonder if she knows who you're talking about. So
Evie Oddly. Yeah. Y-V-I-E.
Yeah. Evie. I'm sure she does. My sister seems to be on top of those things. John, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You are incredible.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
So what I have to end this like before we like hang up. I like during quarantine, like when it like first started or whatever, like I was like so down in the dumps, and like you started like your podcast. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? Like there is someone that has a Good Charlotte podcast, dust my ears.
Wait, so how did you find the podcast?
It was okay, so you know how you like are on Twitter and you can like follow like specific like little trends or whatever. Yeah. So I follow Good Charlotte, I follow Fall Out Boy, I follow I forget the other things. But your podcast, someone had mentioned your podcast. Anyway, it came up in my stuff because my interest is Good Charlotte, and you just came up, and it was like episode 3 or 4, and I was like, oh my God, there is no way that someone is actually literally doing a fucking podcast.
Oh no, someone is actually literally doing a Good Charlotte podcast.
Hey, girl! Like, I was gagged and gooped, and I was like, no, I have to touch base with her.
Yeah.
Girl, I have been listening to your stuff since day one, and I just have to tell you, you do not understand, like, the amount of happiness and love and stuff that you give to people. Like, well, I'm just speaking on myself, but yeah. I'm sure, like, podcast people who listen to your stuff will agree. But looking forward to your podcast and, like, hearing it and, like, having that moment of solace where I can have, like, a wind down moment where I can, like, listen to Molly, talk to her people. Like, it's my whole thing.
Oh my God, I love that. Thank you.
Thank you for spreading your happiness. Like, I can't even, like, there's no words.
Oh my God. I'll say this before I do my outro, but no, it's been so nice because I honestly started it purely as, like, a feeling in myself that I needed to, like, do something, to create something and put it out into the world, and did not at all expect the connection I would get with other people, but that's been, like, such a wonderful experience about all of it.
Yeah. I would have never met you.
Yeah,
you know?
So many
and
people.
That's the thing.
Like,
it's like we probably maybe have, like, rubbed elbows, like, maybe live at a show, but, like, I literally would have never been able to talk to you.
Yeah, which is, like, incredible.
God bless the boys.
Honestly.
Look, they bring us together,
they
girl.
Really do.
Like,
John, this has been amazing. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. This has been a bonus episode. A few days ago, we talked about Silver Screen Romance from Cardiology. On Wednesday, we'll be back with a song from Youth Authority. My name is Molly Hudelson. I've been your host. You can follow Generation GC at Generation GC Pod, POD on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also follow me, Molly, on Twitter and Instagram at mhudelson, MHUDELSON. And please make sure to subscribe to Generation GC, follow it wherever you listen to episodes so that you can hear the episodes as soon as they drop every Wednesday, as well as the bonus episodes. Thank you all for tuning in.